It's heartbreaking. So many seniors start their day with food that silently damages their heart. I've seen it too many times. A bowl of cereal, a glass of juice. They thought it was healthy. But just one mistake at breakfast can spike cortisol, inflame arteries, and set off a dangerous chain reaction. And it all happens before your second cup of coffee. For years, I watched seniors walk into my clinic frustrated, doing everything right, and still facing high blood pressure or early heart issues. The culprit? Breakfast. After 60, the very foods you think are safe can quietly hijack your hormones and inflame your arteries before the day even begins. In this video, I'll show you the one breakfast mistake to avoid and what to eat instead to help your heart age better. And as always, check with your healthcare provider before making changes. 1. Sugar at sunrise. The silent heart. Trigger. Let me ask you something. What did you have for breakfast this morning? Toast with jam, maybe a little fruit juice, or a healthy yogurt with granola? If so, you're not alone, and you're not to blame. Most seniors have been told that a little sugar in the morning gives you energy. But what most people don't realize is this: that sugar spike doesn't give you energy. It steals it. When we eat refined carbs or sugary foods first thing in the morning, especially after age 60, our bodies respond in a completely different way than they did at 30 or 40. That's because insulin resistance naturally increases as we age, making it harder for our cells to absorb sugar. Think of insulin like a key. When we're younger, it unlocks our cells effortlessly. But over time, the key gets rusty, and sugar just piles up in the bloodstream. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults who ate high-sugar breakfasts had 47% higher levels of inflammatory cytokines, and those levels stayed elevated for over 6 hours. That means your light breakfast could be setting off a chain reaction of arterial inflammation, blood pressure spikes, and energy crashes that last until lunchtime. And here's where it gets personal. Marla, one of my patients, used to start every day with toast and a glass of orange juice. She thought it was gentle on the stomach, but she was constantly tired, foggy by mid-morning, and started noticing occasional heart palpitations. When we switched her to a breakfast of chia pudding with unsweetened almond milk and some walnuts, her energy smoothed out, and her heart symptoms stopped entirely. Then there's Frank, 72. He thought his morning cereal was healthy until we checked the label. 12 grams of sugar per serving. We replaced it with 2 boiled eggs, avocado, and a few cherry tomatoes. His blood sugar readings dropped, his afternoon naps disappeared, and he told me, "I finally feel awake in the morning again." So, what's the fix? Skip any breakfast food with more than 6 grams of sugar per serving. Watch out for flavored yogurts, granola blends, and fruit juices labeled natural. Instead, focus on protein plus healthy fats, eggs, chia, avocado, even leftover lentils or greens. Because breakfast sets your metabolic tone for the day. And after 60, that tone can be either inflammation or healing. 2. Skipping breakfast, your heart pays the price. Now let's flip the coin, because while some seniors start their day with too much sugar, others make a mistake that seems even more harmless. They skip breakfast altogether. Maybe it's intentional, part of a diet trend like intermittent fasting, or maybe it's just habit, coffee, then straight into the day. But here's the problem. After 60, skipping breakfast doesn't make your body calm or clean. It makes it stressed. That's because of a hormone called cortisol, your body's natural alarm clock. Normally, cortisol rises in the early morning to help you wake up. It peaks around 30 to 45 minutes after you get out of bed, then starts to drop. But if you don't eat soon after waking, that cortisol spike stays elevated, and over time, it wears down your heart. A study in the Circulation Journal followed older adults over several years. Those who regularly skipped breakfast had a 32% higher risk of dying from heart-related causes, and significantly higher levels of stress hormones throughout the day. Think of it like revving your car engine without oil. You might be able to drive, but the wear and tear piles up. And it's not just about heart risk, it's how you feel. Take Claire, 68. She told me she used to skip breakfast because she just wasn't hungry. But she noticed something strange. Her mornings were tense. Her hands would shake. Her heart would race during small tasks. She thought it was anxiety, but it was cortisol. When she started eating just a small breakfast, some almond butter on whole grain toast with herbal tea, within a week, those symptoms began to fade. So, here's what I recommend. Eat within 90 minutes of waking, ideally between 7 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. Include 10 to 20 grams of protein, like eggs, Greek yogurt, or plant-based options. Even a light breakfast helps lower cortisol and steady your nervous system. Because your heart doesn't just need rest, it needs rhythm. And breakfast helps set that rhythm every single morning. This next mistake, it's what derails progress for 80% of seniors. Do you ever skip breakfast, just coffee and go? Let me know in the comments. You're definitely not alone, but the impact may surprise you three. Processed meats, what bacon really does to your arteries. We've talked about sugar. We've talked about skipping breakfast. But there's one more mistake that's especially common and surprisingly dangerous. Processed meats. I'm talking about bacon, sausage, ham, even some turkey patties that look healthy on the surface. Now, I get it. These foods are nostalgic. They smell like Sunday mornings. They're quick. They're satisfying. But here's the truth. Processed meats are like sandpaper on your arteries. They may taste savory, but under the surface they're loaded with sodium, saturated fat, and chemical preservatives like nitrates, all of which can damage the delicate lining of your blood vessels. Over time, that damage stiffens your arteries, raises your blood pressure, and increases your risk of heart disease. A landmark study published in JAMA Internal Medicine found that people who ate just 50 grams of processed meat per day, that's about 2 to 3 strips of bacon, had a 42% higher risk of heart-related death. And it doesn't take years to see the effect. Carlos, 75, came to me with slightly elevated blood pressure, nothing alarming, but enough to make him nervous. He ate clean most of the time, but loved his morning bacon and sausage patties. We swapped those for a mix of lentils, sautéed spinach, and olive oil, sometimes with a side of smoked salmon. Within 6 weeks, his systolic blood pressure dropped 12 points. And even better, he said he felt lighter, not just physically, but mentally, like he wasn't carrying a secret burden anymore. So, what's the switch? Cut back on cured meats, especially those with sodium nitrite/nitrate. Choose uncured, low-sodium options when you can. But even better, rotate in clean proteins like boiled eggs, legumes, tempeh, or oily fish like sardines and salmon. Because your arteries are not just tubes, they're living tissue, and every bite you take is either healing that tissue or quietly scraping it away. One tiny shift here changes everything downstream. 4. The gut is listening. Toast, juice, and hidden inflammation. There's one more breakfast habit that seems innocent, even healthy, but could be setting your body up for long-term damage. Toast and juice. Now, I know, it sounds light, simple. A slice of whole wheat bread and a glass of orange juice, what could go wrong? But here's what most seniors don't realize. Your gut listens to every bite. And sugar-rich, low-fiber foods first thing in the morning, they feed the wrong messengers. See, inside your digestive tract are trillions of bacteria, good ones and bad ones. And what you feed them determines who survives. When you start your day with refined carbs and fruit juice, you're essentially watering the weeds, fueling inflammatory bacteria that weaken the gut lining and increase what's called intestinal permeability, or leaky gut. And leaky gut doesn't just affect digestion, It fans the flames of inflammation throughout the body, including your arteries and brain. One study from the Journal of Nutrition, Health and Aging, 2023, found that older adults who regularly consume sugary breakfast staples like white bread and juice had a 35% increase in inflammatory markers like IL-6 and VEGF, chemicals directly linked to heart disease, joint pain, and even memory decline. Eleanor, 70, was one of those clean eaters. She avoided junk food, but every morning, 2 slices of toast with jam and a glass of juice. She'd feel bloated by 10 a.m., and by the afternoon, her joints ached. We swapped her breakfast for a cup of green tea, a slice of Ezekiel bread with olive oil, and some lightly sautéed greens. Within 2 weeks, the bloating disappeared. A month later, her knees felt looser. She told me, "I didn't realize my gut was sending me signals." So, what can you do instead? Swap fruit juice for green tea or lemon water, replace toast with sprouted grains or a small veggie stir-fry. Add gut-friendly fats like olive oil avocado or fermented vegetables. Because your gut isn't just about digestion, it's your second immune system. And every breakfast is a message. What message are you sending? This moment is where healing starts feeling like home. Maybe you've been told breakfast is the most important meal of the day. But what we aren't told is that after 60, it becomes something more. It becomes a message to your heart, to your brain, to your future self. And that message can either say, "Let's heal today," or "Let's keep inflaming." Because breakfast isn't just about food, it's about momentum. The first choice you make, after rest, after silence, has a ripple effect through your hormones, your mood, and your energy for the rest of the day. You don't have to overhaul everything. You don't have to get it perfect. But one small change, repeated over time, can absolutely shift how you age. So, tomorrow morning, take a breath. Look at your plate and ask yourself, is this meal helping my heart feel safe today? If so, you're already healing. I'd love to know, what's your go-to breakfast now? Has it changed over the years? Leave a comment and share it. Your habit might inspire someone else who's struggling. And if this video helped, pass it along to a friend or family member who deserves a healthier start. Watch next. The 3 morning drinks that heal joints after 60. It's the perfect companion to this one.